Li Sang stood in the white room and tried not to touch anything. Everything looked too clean, too perfect. The walls had no marks on them. The floor was so shiny he could see his face in it. Even the air smelled strange, like someone had cleaned it too many times. He looked at his reflection in the floor and straightened his blue uniform. The Earth Defense Corps badge on his chest caught the bright lights above. 3 silver stars sat on his shoulders, showing his rank as commander. His black hair was cut short and neat, just like the rules said it should be. "Sir, are you nervous?" Lieutenant Park Hana asked from behind him. Li Sang turned around. Park Hana was young, maybe 25 years old. Her uniform was perfect, and her brown eyes looked worried. She had been with his team for 2 years now. She was smart and brave, but this was her first time meeting aliens. "A little," Li Sang said. He was 38 years old and had been in the military for 15 years. He had seen many dangerous things, but never aliens. "This is new for all of us." Sergeant Kim Tae stood by the door. He was older than both of them, maybe 45. His hands rested on his weapon, even though they were told not to use it. Old habits were hard to break. Kim Tae had fought in 3 wars on Earth. He trusted his gun more than he trusted words. "They say these aliens can read minds," Kim Tae said quietly. "That sounds like magic to me." "It's not magic," a woman's voice said from the other side of the room. "It's science we don't understand yet." Ambassador Choi Mina walked toward them. She was in her 50s with gray hair pulled back in a tight bun. Her black suit was simple but expensive. She had been Earth's top diplomat for 10 years. If anyone could handle talking to aliens, it was her. "The Viridians use their brains differently than we do," Choi Mina explained. "They can touch another being's mind and share thoughts directly. No words needed." "That sounds dangerous," Park Hana said. "It's how they make friends with new species," Choi Mina replied. "They've done this 17 times before. Each time it worked perfectly. The new species joined their galactic community, and everyone was happy." Li Sang looked around the room again. They were on a space station called Nexus Point. It was built in empty space, far from any planet. This place was made for meetings like this one. Humans and aliens could meet here safely, without anyone feeling threatened. The station was huge. It had rooms for many different kinds of beings. Some aliens needed cold air, others needed hot air. Some breathed oxygen like humans, others breathed gases that would kill humans instantly. The station had everything needed to keep everyone alive and comfortable. "How long until they arrive?" Li Sang asked. Choi Mina looked at her watch. 10 minutes. "Are you ready?" Li Sang nodded, but he didn't feel ready. How could anyone be ready for something like this? Humans had always dreamed of meeting aliens. Now it was happening, and he was chosen to be one of the first humans they would touch. The room had cameras everywhere. People on Earth were watching. Scientists, politicians, and billions of regular people all wanted to see what would happen. The pressure was enormous. "Tell me about them again," Park Hana said. Choi Mina smiled a little. "The Viridians are tall and thin. Their skin is light blue, like the sky on a clear day. They have long arms and legs, and their heads are bigger than ours. That's where their special brain parts are." "Do they have weapons?" Kim Tae asked. "They don't need weapons," Choi Mina said. "When you can read minds, fighting becomes pointless. They can see what their enemies plan to do before they do it." Li Sang thought about that. It sounded incredibly powerful. If these aliens could read minds, why did they want to be friends? With humans? What could humans offer them? "They're curious about us," Choi Mina continued as if she could read his thoughts. "We're the first species they've met that has no telepathic ability at all. To them, we're like deaf people who learned to speak anyway." A soft bell sound filled the room. A voice came from hidden speakers in the walls. "The Viridian delegation has arrived. They will enter the meeting chamber in 2 minutes." Li Sang felt his heart beat faster. His mouth became dry. He had fought enemy soldiers and faced death many times, but this was different. This was history happening. "Remember," Choi Mina said, "let me do the talking first. When they're ready for the telepathic greeting, I'll introduce you, Commander. Just stay calm and let it happen. What will it feel like? Lee Sang asked. We don't know, Choi Mina admitted. No human has ever experienced it before. The other species describe it as warm and peaceful, like a gentle touch inside your mind. The door on the far side of the room opened with a quiet hiss. Lee Sang straightened his shoulders and took a deep breath. 3 figures walked into the room, and Lee Sang's breath caught in his throat. The aliens were beautiful in a strange way. They moved like dancers, smooth and graceful. Their skin was indeed light blue, but it seemed to glow softly from within. Their eyes were huge and dark, taking up much of their faces. When they looked at him, Lee Sang felt like they were looking through him, seeing things he couldn't hide. The tallest alien stepped forward. Its movements were slow and careful, like it was underwater. When it spoke, the words came from a small device on its chest. Its real mouth didn't move. Greetings, humans of Earth. I am High Telepath Velthar. We welcome you to the galactic community. Choi Mina stepped forward and bowed slightly. Thank you, High Telepath. I am Ambassador Choi Mina, representing the people of Earth. This is Commander Lee Sang, who has volunteered for the telepathic greeting. Velthar's huge eyes fixed on Lee Sang. The alien's head tilted slightly, like a bird studying something. Interesting. Commander Lee Sang, the alien said through its translation device. You are brave to offer your mind to us. Your species has no experience with telepathic contact. Are you certain you wish to proceed? Lee Sang nodded. I am certain. Very well. Please stand in the center of the room. Do not be afraid. This will not hurt you. Lee Sang walked to the center of the white room. The lights above seemed brighter now. He could hear his own heartbeat in his ears. Behind him, Park Hana and Kim Tae watched nervously. Their hands were close to their weapons, even though they had been ordered not to interfere. Velthar approached slowly. The alien was much taller than Lee Sang, maybe 7 feet tall. Its long arms ended in hands with 6 thin fingers. One finger was longer than the others, and it glowed with a soft blue light. Place your mind at rest, Commander Lee Sang, Velthar said. Think peaceful thoughts. Let your consciousness be calm like still water. Lee Sang tried to relax, but it was impossible. His mind was full of questions and fears. What if something went wrong? What if the alien saw something it shouldn't see? What if this hurt him or changed him somehow? I will touch your forehead with my telepathic finger, Velthar explained. The contact will last only a few seconds. You may feel warmth or tingling, but nothing more. The alien raised its hand. The glowing finger pointed at Lee Sang's forehead. Around the room, everyone held their breath. Are you ready, Commander? Lee Sang looked into those huge, dark eyes. For a moment, he thought he saw something there. Confidence, yes, but also curiosity. This alien expected to find a simple mind, like all the others it had touched before. Lee Sang smiled a little. I'm ready. Velthar's glowing finger moved toward his forehead, and Lee Sang closed his eyes, waiting for the touch that would change everything. The glowing finger touched Lee Sang's forehead, and everything changed. Velthar expected to slide gently into a simple mind, like walking into a quiet library. Instead, the alien crashed into something that felt like a raging storm. Lee Sang's mind was not calm water. It was an ocean during a hurricane. The first thing Velthar experienced was raw emotion, stronger than anything the alien had ever felt. Joy so bright it burned, anger so hot it melted, fear so deep it had no bottom, love so powerful it could move mountains. But these emotions didn't come one at a time, like they did in other minds. They all existed together, all at once, fighting and dancing and creating chaos that made no sense. Velthar tried to pull back, but something was wrong. Lee Sang's mind wasn't just receiving the telepathic probe. It was grabbing it. The alien felt human memories rushing through the connection. Like a flood. A child, Lee Sang, maybe 5 years old, crying as his father left for war and never came back. The same child, now 10, fighting bigger boys who tried to take his food. Lee Sang at 15, holding his dying mother's hand in a hospital bed. Then came the violent memories. Li Sang in military training learning to kill with his bare hands. Li Sang in his first battle, shooting an enemy soldier and feeling sick afterward. Li Sang leading his team through a burning city, carrying wounded comrades to safety. But mixed with the violence were moments of incredible kindness. Li Sang giving his last piece of bread to a hungry stranger. Li Sang adopting a stray dog, and caring for it like a child. Li Sang crying at his wedding, overwhelmed by happiness. Velthar's mind reeled. How could one being contain such contradictions? How could the same consciousness that planned military attacks also write poetry? How could hands that killed enemies also hold babies so gently? Then the alien discovered something even more shocking. Behind all these personal memories were deeper ones, ancient ones, memories that belonged not just to Li Sang, but to his entire species. Velthar saw cave-dwelling humans fighting giant beasts with nothing but sharp sticks. Humans surviving, ice ages that killed most other life on their planet. Humans building cities, then destroying them in wars, then building them again. Over and over, destruction and creation, death and birth, hatred and love. The alien saw the history of human warfare. Swords and spears giving way to guns and bombs. Humans fighting each other with such fury that they nearly destroyed their own world. But also humans saving each other. Doctors working without sleep to heal the wounded. Teachers risking their lives to protect children. Ordinary people becoming heroes when darkness fell. Every human memory carried the weight of millions of years of struggle. Every thought was shaped by the knowledge that life was dangerous and death was always close. Humans lived knowing they could die at any moment, and this knowledge made every emotion stronger, every experience more intense. Velthar tried again to break the connection, but Li Sang's mind held on tight. The alien realized with growing terror that human consciousness was like a black hole. It pulled in everything that came near it, and made it part of itself. The human mind wasn't just chaotic, it was hungry. Velthar felt pieces of its own consciousness being pulled into Li Sang's mental storm. The alien's careful, organized thoughts were being scattered and mixed with human memories of war and love and loss and hope. For the first time in its long life, Velthar experienced true fear. The alien had touched the minds of many species. Some were simple, like gentle streams. Others were complex, like flowing rivers. But human consciousness was different. It was a waterfall crashing down from impossible heights, carrying rocks and trees and everything else in its path. And at the center of it all was something even more terrifying. Human creativity. Velthar saw Li Sang's mind making connections that should have been impossible. The human brain took unrelated ideas and smashed them together to create something new. Art from mathematics, music from the sound of wind, stories from the movement of stars. Other species were logical. They thought in straight lines from one idea to the next. Humans thought in spirals and loops and sudden jumps that made no sense, but somehow worked anyway. The alien saw human inventors creating machines that shouldn't work but did. Human artists making beauty from ugliness. Human scientists discovering truths by asking questions that other species thought were stupid. It was madness, but it was brilliant madness. Velthar's own mind, so carefully trained and controlled, began to fracture under the pressure. The alien's thoughts, usually flowing in neat channels, started to twist and tangle like human thoughts did. For a terrifying moment, Velthar experienced what it felt like to be human. To live with the constant knowledge of death. To love someone knowing they would die. To fight for causes that might be hopeless. To create beauty in a universe that seemed designed to destroy it. The intensity was unbearable. Through the telepathic connection, Velthar felt Li Sang's confusion. The human didn't understand what was happening. He felt the alien's presence in his mind, but to him it seemed natural. Humans were used to their thoughts being chaotic. They lived with the storm every day. Li Sang tried to think peaceful thoughts, like Velthar had asked. But his idea of peace included memories of hard-won battles and friends who died protecting others. His calm included the sound of his wife's breathing at night and the smell of his daughter's hair. His serenity was built on a foundation of struggle and loss and small victories earned through blood and tears. Even Li Sang's kindest thoughts carried an edge of violence. His love for his family included the willingness to kill anyone who threatened them. His desire for peace included detailed plans for winning wars. His hope for the future was balanced by preparation for disaster. Velthar finally understood why humans had no telepathic ability. Their minds were too chaotic to control. Telepathy required order, discipline, calm focus. Human consciousness was the opposite of all these things. But the alien also realized something else. This chaos was not a weakness. It was a strength. Human minds were impossible to predict because they didn't follow logical patterns. They made intuitive leaps that bypassed reason and landed on truth. They survived impossible situations by thinking in ways that didn't make sense, but somehow worked. The alien tried one more time to break free from Li Sang's mental grip, but it was too late. The human mind had pulled too much of Velthar's consciousness into its storm. The alien's carefully organized thoughts were now mixed with human memories and emotions. Velthar felt its own telepathic abilities being overwhelmed. The alien's mind, designed to touch other consciousness gently, was being burned by the raw intensity of human thought. Pain shot through Velthar's head like lightning. The alien's huge eyes rolled back, showing only white. Its tall body began to shake and tremble. In the meeting room, everyone watched in shock as the powerful alien telepath began to collapse. Velthar's mouth opened, and a sound came out that no human had ever heard before. It was not quite a scream and not quite a song. It was the sound of a mind breaking apart. The other Viridians in the room stepped back in fear. They had never seen their high telepath in distress. Through their own telepathic abilities, they could feel echoes of Velthar's pain, and it terrified them. Li Sang opened his eyes and saw the alien falling. He reached out to catch Velthar, but the alien's body went completely limp. The tall blue being crashed to the white floor like a tree falling in a forest. The glowing finger that had touched Li Sang's forehead was now dark and cold. Velthar lay unconscious on the perfect white floor, breathing in short, quick gasps. The alien's beautiful blue skin had turned pale, almost gray. Its huge dark eyes were closed, and its long limbs twitched like it was having a nightmare. Li Sang knelt beside the fallen alien, not understanding what had happened. He felt fine. Better than fine, actually. The telepathic contact had been strange but not unpleasant, like having someone else's thoughts mixed with his own for a few seconds. But Velthar looked like someone who had been struck by lightning. Around the room, alarms began to sound. Red lights flashed on the walls. The other Viridians rushed too. Their leaders sighed, speaking rapidly in their own language. Their translation devices couldn't keep up with their panicked words. Ambassador Choi Mina stared at the scene in horror. This was supposed to be a simple greeting, a moment of understanding between species. Instead, it had become a disaster. Park Hana and Kim Tae moved to Li Sang's side, their hands on their weapons. They didn't know what had happened, but they were ready to protect their commander. Li Sang looked down at the unconscious alien and felt a strange mixture of guilt and confusion. What had his mind done to this being? And why did he have the feeling that this was only the beginning? The medical bay of Nexus Point looked like something from a science fiction movie. Strange machines with lights and screens surrounded the bed where Velthar lay unconscious. Dr. Song Ji-hai moved between the alien and human medical equipment, trying to understand what had happened. Dr. Song was small and quick, with short black hair and sharp eyes behind wire glasses. She had studied alien biology for 10 years, preparing for this moment. But nothing in her training had prepared her for this. "Heart rate is elevated," she said, looking at her scanner. "Brain activity is unusual." The Viridian medical team worked on the other side of the bed. They looked like Velthar but smaller, with less glowing in their skin. Their movements were fast and worried. They spoke in high, musical voices that their translation devices changed into human words. "High telepaths' mind patterns are chaotic," one of them said. "This has never happened before. Ambassador Choi Mina stood near the door with Lee Sang, Park Hana, and Kim Tae. Her face was pale with worry. This diplomatic mission was supposed to open a new chapter for humanity. Instead, it might have started a war. "Is Velthar going to be okay?" she asked. The lead Viridian doctor looked up. Its huge eyes were full of fear. "We do not know. High Telepath's consciousness is damaged, fragmented. Parts of it seem to be missing." Lee Sang felt sick. "Missing? What does that mean?" "Telepathic minds are like flowing water," the alien doctor explained. "Smooth and connected. High telepaths. Mine now has breaks, gaps, like a river with stones blocking its flow." Dr. Song looked at her readings again. "Commander Lee Sang, how do you feel?" Lee Sang thought about it. "Fine, normal, maybe a little tired, but that's all." "No headache? No strange thoughts, no memories that don't belong to you?" "No, nothing like that." Lee Sang paused. "Should there be?" The Viridian doctor made a sound like wind through leaves. "In normal telepathic contact, both minds share equally. Both give and both receive. But you seem unchanged while High Telepath is broken." Park Hana stepped closer to Lee Sang. "Sir, maybe we should get you checked too." Dr. Song nodded. "Good idea. Commander, please sit here." She pointed to a chair covered in sensors. Lee Sang sat down and the doctor began running tests. Lights flashed across his body. Machines hummed and beeped. Numbers appeared on screens. "Everything looks normal," Dr. Song said after a few minutes. "Blood pressure, heart rate, brain waves, all exactly what I'd expect from a healthy human male." "But that's impossible," the Viridian doctor said. "Telepathic contact always affects both minds. Always." On the medical bed, Velthar began to stir. The alien's huge eyes opened slowly, blinking in the bright lights. Its blue skin was still pale and its breathing was quick and shallow. "Hi, Telepath!" The Viridian doctor rushed to its leader's side. "How do you feel?" Velthar tried to sit up but fell back against the pillows. When the alien spoke, its voice was weak and shaky. I touched the storm," Velthar whispered. "I fell into the chaos." "What storm?" Ambassador Choi Mina asked. "What chaos?" Velthar's eyes found Lee Sang across the room. The alien's gaze was filled with something that looked like terror. "His mind," Velthar said. "Human mind. Not like others. Not calm water. Not flowing river. Human mind is... The alien struggled to find words. Its translation device made small clicking sounds as it worked. "Hurricane," Velthar finally said. "Tornado, earthquake, all at once, all the time." Dr. Song moved closer. "Can you explain what you experienced?" Velthar closed its eyes for a moment, as if remembering was painful. "I expected simple thoughts, clear and easy to read, like all other species. But human consciousness is..." The alien stopped and shuddered. "Violent, beautiful, terrible, contradictory, all things at once." "That doesn't sound right," Kim Tae said. "Humans aren't violent all the time." "Not violent actions," Velthar explained. "Violent emotions, powerful beyond measure. Love so strong it hurts, anger that burns like fire, hope that shines like stars, all mixed together in impossible ways." The alien looked at Lee Sang again. "Your mind contains memories, not just your own. Memories of your species. Millions of years of struggle and death and survival. Every human thought carries the weight of this history." Ambassador Choi Mina frowned. "You're saying Lee Sang's mind contains human evolutionary memory?" "Not memory exactly, but influence. Echo. Human minds are shaped by knowing that life is dangerous, that death comes quickly, that everything good must be fought for." Dr. Song checked her notes. "That could explain the intensity you experienced. Human evolution was particularly violent compared to most species. But there was more," Velthar continued. "Human mind did not just receive my telepathic probe. It grabbed it, pulled it in, Made it part of the storm. The Viridian doctor looked confused. Grabbed it? That should be impossible. That should be. Human consciousness is like. Velthar struggled again for words. Like black hole. It pulls in everything nearby. Makes it part of itself. I tried to withdraw, but could not. Human mind held my thoughts and mixed them with its own chaos, Lee. Sang felt a chill. Are you saying my mind attacked you? Not attacked. Not intentionally, but yes. Human mind is naturally aggressive toward telepathic contact. It treats all mental intrusion as threat to be conquered and absorbed. The room fell silent as everyone absorbed this information. Finally, Ambassador, Choi Mina asked the obvious question. What does this mean for human-alien relations? Velthar tried to sit up again. This time the alien managed to stay upright, though its hands shook with effort. It means humans are unlike any species we have met. Other species have minds like calm lakes. Easy to read, easy to understand. Human minds are like violent storms that destroy anything that comes too close. Are we dangerous to other telepathic species? Dr. Song asked. Very dangerous, Velthar said quietly. I can feel it even now. Being near humans causes discomfort, static, like standing too close to lightning. Park Hana looked around the room. You mean just being around us hurts you? Not hurt exactly, but disturbs. Human thoughts create background noise that interferes with telepathic communication, like trying to hear whispers during earthquake. The Viridian doctor checked its readings. High telepath speaks truth. I am having difficulty maintaining clear thought while in human presence. Ambassador Choi Mina realized the implications. If humans interfere with telepathic communication just by existing, what does that mean for the galactic community? Velthar's expression grew grave. Most galactic civilization is built on telepathic contact. Trade, diplomacy, warfare, all depend on mind-to-mind communication. Humans could disrupt everything. Just by being ourselves? Lee Sang asked. Just by being human, Velthar confirmed. Your species is immune to telepathic control, cannot be read or influenced through mental contact. Worse, you actively interfere with telepathic abilities of others. Dr. Song was taking notes rapidly. This could actually be an advantage. If we can't be controlled telepathically, we have protection against mental manipulation. Yes, Velthar said, but also makes you extremely threatening to telepathic species. Many will see humans as existential. Threat, Kim Tae stepped forward. Are you saying they'll try to destroy us? Velthar was quiet for a long moment. Then the alien spoke words that chilled everyone in the room. I must contact the Dominion immediately. They need to know what humans truly are. The Dominion? Ambassador? Choi Mina asked. The most powerful telepathic empire in the galaxy. 10,000 worlds under their control. They rule through mental domination and telepathic superiority. Velthar looked directly at Lee Sang. When they learn that humans exist, beings that cannot be controlled and actively disrupt telepathic power, they will act quickly. What kind of action? Lee Sang asked, though he was afraid he already knew the answer. They will send the Grand Fleet to sterilize Earth before humans can spread beyond your home system. They will not allow your species to exist. The alien's words hung in the air like a death sentence. In trying to make first contact with aliens, humanity had accidentally declared war on the galaxy's most powerful empire, and the war would begin the moment the Dominion learned what human minds could do. Outside the medical bay, red warning lights began flashing. The communications array of Nexus Point was receiving an urgent message from deep space. The Dominion Grand Fleet was already on its way. The command center of Nexus Point buzzed with desperate activity. Admiral Kang Soo-jin stood before the main display screen, watching red dots move across a map of space. Each dot was a Dominion warship, and there were thousands of them. Admiral Kang was 52 years old with gray hair and hard eyes. She had fought in every major space battle for the past 20 years. She knew how to read military formations, and what she saw on the screen made her stomach sick. How many ships? She asked. 10,000 confirmed. replied Lieutenant Yoon Jae from his position at the sensor station. He was young and nervous, sweat beading on his forehead. More joining the formation every hour. Ambassador Choi Mina rushed into the command center, followed by Dr. Song Ji-hye and Commander Lee Sang. Behind them came Veltar, walking slowly with the help of 2 Viridian medical assistants. "Admiral, we need to talk," Choi Mina said urgently. Admiral Kang pointed at the screen. "About that fleet heading for Earth? Yes, I think we do." "It's worse than you know," Dr. Song said. She carried a data pad filled with her research notes. "I've been studying what happened during the telepathic contact. Humans aren't just immune to mental influence, we're actively toxic to telepathic species." "Toxic how?" Admiral Kang asked. Velthar stepped forward, still pale and shaking. "Human minds generate what you might call psychic noise. Background interference that disrupts telepathic communication. The closer telepathic beings are to humans, the stronger the interference becomes." Lee Sang looked at the alien with concern. "Are we hurting you right now?" "Yes," Velthar admitted. "But it is bearable, like standing near loud machinery. Uncomfortable, but not dangerous for short periods." Dr. Song checked her notes. "But what happens if humans get closer to a large group of telepathic beings?" "Chaos," Velthar said simply. "Telepathic coordination becomes impossible. Ship commanders lose contact with their crews. Fleet formations fall apart. It would be like making an army suddenly deaf and blind." Admiral Kang stared at the alien. "Are you saying human presence can disable telepathic military forces?" "Not disable. Disrupt. But the effect is the same. Telepathic species have never needed to develop non-telepathic communication methods. They are helpless without their mental connections." Lieutenant Yoon Jae looked up from his station. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the Dominion fleet." "Put it on screen." The main display changed to show an alien face unlike any they had seen before. This being was tall and thin like Velthar, but its skin was dark purple instead of blue. Its eyes glowed with an inner fire, and when it spoke, its voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. "I am Grand Admiral Kethmar of the Dominion First Fleet. We demand the immediate surrender of all humans on this station." Ambassador Choi Mina stepped forward. "This is Ambassador Choi Mina of Earth. We are here for peaceful diplomatic contact." The alien's glowing eyes focused on her. "There can be no peace with your species. Human minds are an infection that threatens telepathic civilization. You will surrender now or be destroyed." "We've done nothing wrong," Choi Mina protested. "Your existence is wrong," Grand Admiral Kethmar replied. "For millions of years, telepathic species have lived in harmony. We communicate mind to mind, sharing thoughts and emotions freely. We have no wars because we understand each other perfectly." The alien's image leaned closer. "But humans cannot be understood, cannot be trusted, cannot be controlled. Your chaotic minds poison telepathic communication just by existing." Velthar moved closer to the screen. "Grand Admiral, I am High Telepath Velthar. I have experienced human consciousness directly. While it is indeed chaotic, it is not evil. Humans are simply different." "Different?" Kethmar's voice grew angry. "I felt your mind break when you touched the human. I felt your pain across space. If one human can destroy a high telepath, what happens when millions of humans spread across the galaxy?" "They could learn to control their abilities," Velthar suggested. "Impossible. Human minds are naturally chaotic. They cannot be changed or trained. They are a threat that must be eliminated before it spreads." Admiral Kang had heard enough. "Grand Admiral, humanity will defend itself. We won't surrender to extinction." Kethmar laughed, a sound like breaking glass. 300 human ships against 10,000 Dominion vessels. You have courage but no wisdom. Maybe we have something else, Admiral Kang said quietly. The transmission ended, leaving the command center in tense silence. Dr. Song was the first to speak. "Admiral, I have an idea. If human minds disrupt telepathic communication, maybe we can use that as a weapon." "Explain." The Dominion fleet relies on telepathic coordination. Ship commanders communicate with each other mentally. Navigators use telepathic links to maintain formation. If we could amplify human psychic noise, we might be able to disrupt their entire fleet. Velthar looked interested despite its obvious discomfort. Amplify how? Emotional intensity, Dr. Song said, reading from her datapad. During the telepathic contact, Commander Lee Sang's strongest memories and emotions caused the most disruption. If humans deliberately focus on intense emotions, it might increase the psychic interference. Lee Sang thought about this. You want us to think angry thoughts? Not just angry. Any strong emotion. Love, fear, joy, rage. The intensity matters more than the specific feeling. Lieutenant Yoon Jae looked up from his station again. Admiral, I'm detecting something strange. The Dominion ships are maintaining perfect formation, but their communication signals are very weak. Weak how? Admiral Kang asked. Like they're having trouble maintaining contact with each other. The signals keep fading in and out. Dr. Song smiled. It's already starting. Just having humans in the same star system is interfering with their telepathic abilities. Velthar nodded slowly. Distance reduces the effect but does not eliminate it completely. The closer humans get to telepathic beings, the stronger the interference becomes. Admiral Kang began to pace. So if we could get our ships close to theirs, their coordination would collapse, Dr. Song finished, but we'd have to survive long enough to get close. What about weapons? Commander Lee Sang asked. Do we have anything that can hurt their ships? Standard human weapons should be effective, Velthar said. Dominion ships are designed to fight other telepathic species. They rely on reading enemy intentions to avoid attacks. Against unpredictable human tactics, they would be vulnerable. Lieutenant Yoon Jae's station began beeping rapidly. Admiral, the Dominion fleet is moving. They'll reach Earth's solar system in 6 hours. Admiral Kang looked around the room. 6 hours to save humanity. Dr. Song, how quickly can you develop this psychic amplification idea? I need to run tests with volunteers. Maybe 2 hours to develop a working theory. Do it. Commander Lee Sang, I want you to contact Earth Defense Command. Tell them to prepare every ship we have. Yes, Admiral. Ambassador Choi Mina, send a message to Earth. Tell them what we've learned about human abilities. If we don't succeed here, they need to know how to defend themselves. Choi Mina nodded grimly. Admiral Kang turned to Velthar. Hi, Telepath. Will you help us? The alien was quiet for a long moment. My people have always avoided conflict. We seek peace through understanding. Sometimes understanding means fighting for the right to exist, Admiral Kang said. Velthar looked at Lee Sang, remembering the chaos and beauty of human consciousness. Yes, I will help you. The galaxy is large enough for both telepathic and non-telepathic species. Dr. Song was already moving toward the door. I need to start testing immediately. Commander Lee Sang, I'll need you and your team as subjects. Whatever you need, Doctor. As they prepared to leave, Admiral Kang called. Out one more time. People, in 6 hours we're going to face the most powerful military force in the galaxy. They have superior numbers, superior technology, and thousands of years of experience. She paused and smiled grimly. But they've never fought humans before. They don't know what we're capable of when we're defending our families and our home. The red dots on the screen continued their steady approach toward Earth, carrying death and destruction. But for the first time since the crisis began, the humans in the command center felt something other than fear. They felt hope. The bridge of the Earth defense ship Incheon hummed with nervous energy. Admiral Kang Soo-jin stood at the center, watching 300 human ships spread out in defensive formation around Earth's solar system. It looked pitiful against the approaching wall of 10,000 Dominion vessels. All ships report ready, Admiral, Lieutenant Yoon Jae announced from his position. Admiral Kang nodded. Dr. Song Ji-hai's experiments had worked better than anyone expected. Human crews throughout the fleet had learned to amplify their psychic interference by focusing on intense emotions and memories. The effect was already causing problems for the Dominion fleet. "Admiral," Commander Lee Sang called from the tactical station. "The enemy formation is becoming unstable. Ships are drifting out of position." On the main screen, the perfect geometric formation of Dominion ships was beginning to break apart. Vessels that should have been maintaining precise distances were wandering off course. Some ships had stopped moving entirely. "Their telepathic navigators can't maintain contact," Dr. Song explained from her position at the science station. "The psychic noise from our crews is jamming their coordination." Velthar stood near the back of the bridge, still weak from the telepathic contact days before. The alien's blue skin had gained some color back, but its huge eyes remained troubled. "Grandy, Admiral Kethmar will realize what is happening soon," Velthar warned. "The Dominion has fought many species, but never one that could disrupt telepathic abilities. Let them figure it out," Admiral Kang said grimly. "By then, it will be too late." The human fleet had spread out across the solar system in small groups. Each group contained ships with crews trained to broadcast maximum psychic interference. The plan was simple: get close to Dominion ships and disrupt their coordination so badly they couldn't fight effectively. "All ships, this is Admiral Kang," she announced over the fleet communication system. "Remember what Dr. Song taught you. Think about what matters most to you: your families, your friends, your home. Let those emotions fill your minds and broadcast them as loudly as you can." Across the fleet, human crews began focusing on the memories and feelings that defined them. Thoughts of children's laughter, parents' pride, first loves, and last goodbyes. Each mind became a beacon of chaotic human emotion, sending waves of psychic noise into space. The effect on the Dominion fleet was immediate and devastating. "Admiral, enemy ships are reporting massive communication failures," Yoon Jae announced, monitoring Dominion transmissions. "They're requesting instructions but can't reach their command ships." On the main screen, the once mighty Dominion formation looked like leaves scattered by wind. Ships drifted in random directions, their crews unable to coordinate with each other. "Begin the attack," Admiral Kang ordered. The human ships moved forward in small, fast groups. They darted between the confused Dominion vessels, firing on targets of opportunity. Human weapons, designed for conventional warfare, tore through alien hulls that had never faced unpredictable attacks. "The Dominion ships can't read our intentions," Commander Lee Sang reported excitedly. "They're used to knowing what enemies will do before they do it. Our chaotic human thinking makes us impossible to predict." Ship after ship of the mighty Dominion fleet fell to human weapons, not because human technology was superior, but because the aliens couldn't coordinate their response. They were like a giant with its eyes closed and ears plugged, swinging blindly while small attackers struck from all sides. "This is impossible," came a transmission from Grand Admiral Kethmar. The alien's voice was filled with rage and confusion. "How are these primitives defeating our fleet?" Admiral Kang opened a channel to the Dominion flagship. "The same way we've survived everything else, Grand Admiral, by being human. Your species is an abomination." Kethmar screamed. "You poison the minds of civilized beings. You turn order into chaos." "We turn tyranny into freedom," Admiral Kang replied. "You've ruled the galaxy through mental control for too long. Now you've met a species you can't control." On the tactical display, more Dominion ships were falling every minute. The aliens tried to retreat, but their ships couldn't coordinate the withdrawal. Some vessels fled in panic while others continued fighting, creating more confusion. "Admiral," Dr. Song called out, "I'm detecting something strange. The psychic interference is spreading beyond our crews." "What do you mean?" "The emotional intensity of our people is triggering responses in humans throughout the solar system. People on Earth, Mars, the space stations. They're all unconsciously adding to the psychic noise." Velthar looked amazed. "Billions of human minds all broadcasting together. The interference must be overwhelming every telepathic being within light years." "That's what happens when you threaten our home," Admiral Kang said. "Humans fight together, even when they don't know they're fighting." The battle was turning into a rout. Dominion ships fled in all directions, their crews desperate to escape the psychic chaos surrounding Earth. The few vessels that continued fighting were quickly destroyed by coordinated human attacks. Grand Admiral Kethmar is requesting to speak with you, Yunjae announced. Put him through. The alien's face appeared on screen, but it looked different now. The confident arrogance was gone, replaced by something like fear. Admiral Kang, we surrender. Call off your attacks. Surrender? Admiral Kang was surprised. Your fleet still outnumbers us 30-1. Numbers mean nothing when coordination is impossible, Kethmar admitted. We cannot fight an enemy we cannot understand or predict. Your species has abilities we never imagined. We're not the monsters you thought we were, Admiral Kang said. We're just people trying to protect our families. Perhaps. But you are still the most dangerous beings in the galaxy. A species immune to telepathic control, capable of disrupting our most basic abilities. Velthar stepped forward. Grand Admiral, perhaps this is an opportunity. For too long, telepathic species have dominated through mental superiority. Humans prove that other forms of consciousness can be equally valid. Kethmar was quiet for a long moment. What do you propose? Coexistence, Admiral Kang said. Humans have no desire to conquer the galaxy. We just want to be left alone to live our lives. But your presence disrupts telepathic civilization. Only when we're forced to fight, Dr. Song interjected. Human psychic interference is strongest during intense emotions. In peaceful situations, the effect is much weaker. You're saying humans can control this ability? We're saying we can learn to live together, Admiral Kang replied. Humans in their own space, telepathic species in theirs. Trade and communication where possible, but no attempts at domination from either side. Kethmar considered this. Around the solar system, the remains of the Dominion fleet waited for orders. The Dominion Council will not accept this easily, the Grand Admiral finally said. Many will see any compromise with humans as weakness. Then they'll learn what we learned today, Admiral Kang said firmly. That trying to destroy humanity only makes us stronger. Very well. I will carry your proposal to the Council. But understand, there will be others who refuse to accept human existence. This will not be the last time you face telepathic opposition. We'll be ready, Admiral Kang promised. The transmission ended, and the Dominion fleet began its long journey back to their home worlds. They carried with them news that would shake the galaxy. A species existed that could not be controlled, could not be predicted, and could not be defeated through telepathic superiority. Admiral, Commander Lee Sang said quietly. What happens now? Admiral Kang looked at the tactical display where human ships were already beginning rescue operations for Dominion survivors. Even in victory, humans showed compassion for their enemies. Now we learn how to live in a galaxy that's afraid of us, she said. We prove that humanity can be trusted with the power we never knew we had. Velthar approached the Admiral. Your species has changed everything. The telepathic empires will never feel secure again, knowing that humans exist. Good, Admiral Kang replied. Maybe insecurity will teach them humility. 6 months later, Lee Sang stood in the same white room where it all began. But now, the room was different. Representatives from dozens of species sat around a large table, negotiating the new galactic order. Some were telepathic species learning to communicate without mental contact. Others were non-telepathic beings who had been slaves and were now free. All of them looked to humanity as the species that had changed everything. Ambassador Choi Mina was leading the discussions, her experience finally proving useful for its intended purpose. Dr. Song Ji-hai worked with alien scientists to understand psychic phenomena. Velthar served as a bridge between telepathic and human cultures. The Galactic Accord will establish boundaries, Choi Mina was explaining. Telepathic space, human space, and neutral zones where both can meet safely. A spider-like alien raised one of its many arms. What about species that wish to be free from telepathic control? They can request protection under human jurisdiction, Choi Mina replied. Humanity will defend any species that chooses freedom over domination. Lee Sang smiled as he watched the negotiations. Humanity had fought for the right to exist and won. But more than that, they had opened the galaxy to new possibilities.